Yes, Dr. Kavitha, I think you can start.
Yeah, very good evening, good morning, and different warm greetings for different parts of the world. And it's a great pleasure to connect back again with words of wisdom through our beloved Queen Nadia. Thank you so much, and it's real pleasure to be connected to people again. When the discussion started, like what do we talk about? I was just wondering, like, what really happened in this 1.5, 2 years time, and I seriously noticed that the biggest lacuna was in actually uh, trying to understand a great deficit in the self love. I thought I should be talking about it because unless until we know about ourselves, we understand and we do better to ourselves, we really cannot do better to the world. That is as simple as that. So I thought today let me talk about self love. I think before I really start my course, let me just give a brief background of what exactly is self love, and then why do we lack self love, and what are the various factors of self love. In today's class, we would be understanding about what exactly is self-love. We would try to understand, define, and know like what is self-love, what are the various factors that contribute and create deficit in in self-love, and what are the various reasons that we really don't do, or what are the various strategies we could adopt. So it is going to move on a three-prong approach. First, trying to understand what is self-love. Second, trying to understand the reasons why we need to have self love, and what really causes, what are the various symptoms, or how do you identify if yourself you don't possess the self love. And third one is how do we really build up the various strategies to bring in the self love in ourselves. So let me start my class today, and if possible, let me try to make it more an interactive session rather than a lecture method. So I go with my most favorite quote for today: the love and compassion are not necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive. This is a very beautiful quote that really touches me all the time. When we talk about humanity, we mostly talk about what do we really do for others. What do we really do for others? But what we fail to understand in the whole complexity of calling up a bunch as others, we fail to forget that we are also a part of others. We are also a part of others. When I say love, when I say compassion, I just don't mean to talk about other people. I equally mean me. What am I to myself, and what am I to myself, and how good I'm being to myself. And if you notice, the biggest disconnection in this world roots from the disconnection from love, which is the core of almost all the problems. Name anything in a day. Let us take for example a day-to-day situation. You're working somewhere, you're upset at your workspace, you are upset with your relationships, you're upset with yourself, like you really want to maintain a diet and you're not able to maintain, and you are a compulsive binger. You want to eat all the time, failing to forget the fact that you need to take care of your health. Take care of your health. So this biggest disconnection, the biggest disconnection is the connection of love. It could be to yourself or it could be to others, which is the core root of all the problems. So let us now try to understand, like, what exactly, why do we lack the self-love? Because we need to know the core root of like why we lack the self-love. When we have to understand, there are certain things, certain research that's proved that it could be due to the genes, it could be due to your cultural background, it could be due to the childhood experiences, it could be due to other life circumstances which has played an important role in your life, that you are lacking the self love. To cite a small example, you might wonder, if it is genes, so does it mean I can never change it? Does it mean I cannot change it? If I had undergone a trauma in my childhood, does it mean I cannot change it? You might have this doubt. But one good news to really add it up right now is like they do say that there are certain gene maladaptations, or there are certain mutations that happen at the gene level where neurotransmitters like serotonin or oxytocin release is inhibited, wherein you don't feel happy or good about yourselves, and there is a deficit in the confidence. There is a deficit in the confidence. So coming back to the cultural circumstances, certain cultural circumstances inhibit a female to have a free expression to show what she is, to prove what she is, or to showcase what she can be to the society. That could be one of the reasons, or it could be also the upbringing. Let us say that you've been brought up by very, very authoritative, very, very strict parents, like who have been judgmental on what you do right from your childhood. Like they always label, they always say this is wrong, that is right. The whole upbringing of a human being is laid on right or wrong, or yes or no, or all or none. A kind of extremities upbringing where the child is not given the freedom to express, to be herself or himself. This could also be one of the reasons why the self-love lacks. So I'll go to my next slide now. Just a second, let me see why I'm not able to move. Yeah. So we usually hear this. We usually talk about the basic insight, what I have told just now. We are trying to emphasize the same thing on the slide. You really cannot love anyone else unless you love yourself. You cannot take care of anyone else unless you have taken care of yourself. If you do not have the balance, compassion, inner peace, you are likely in no position to do your best work, to be the best partner, parent, friend, or that you can be. I mean, to put it in single line, you can only reflect what you are. You can give back what you have received. That is the simple statement of this whole slide. So unless until you take care of yourself, you're healthy physically, mentally, psychologically, you will not be in a position to understand the realities of that situation or the other person. And even taking care of your children, if you are not a good parent, if you're not a healthy parent, in terms of the physical, emotional, and psychological aspects, you really cannot take care of the children, because you yourself cannot take care of yourselves. So this is what this slide talks about. And so what exactly is self-love? How do we really understand the self-love? To put it simple, though I have given a very definition that really states the professional aspect of it, but it only means that you have an appreciation for yourself that really supports your physical, psychological, and spiritual growth. To put it more simpler, let us say that you have done yourself, you have done a good job, you understand, you see, and you know that you have done a good job, and understand that you have grown from yesterday. You have grown, you have become a better person of what you were from yesterday. That is the physical growth. It could be a psychological growth, it could be a spiritual growth. The most important thing, you need to first observe. You need to be unbiased. You need to observe, and once you observe, you know you have grown from what you were to the best version of what you can be today. That appreciation of yourself, that is called self-love. And because every human being, let me give a small background to this. Every human being born on this earth has a birthright to live a life with respect, with lot of love. With respect and love, self-esteem, and sense of worth. That is the basic human right that we all possess, having taken birth on this earth. Unless until we recognize, we identify, we appreciate that yes, we have been growing, and yes, there is something that is more important, that we have grown over, that we have grown from yesterday. We really cannot appreciate our life or living. So, what are the various vital ingredients of self love? If you have to really look into what makes self love, what constitutes self love, one could be the self awareness, one could be self honesty. What honesty? I'll give a very small example. Let us say that I think that I'm a good singer, but traditionally, I don't fit to be a professional singer. But to myself, I think I'm a singer. I go to a space, give my audition for singing, and they don't select me for singing. I come back and I start thinking that I'm not a good singer. I'm not worth to be a singer, because I start looking at myself with a certain standard that has been already put up. I try to look into a certain standard of what life can be. So I start gauging myself with the certain standards like what we have already put up. So the self awareness, I'm a good singer, I'm a good singer. I need little more practice to reach up to the professional singing level. That is self awareness. Usually what happens, we have a negative self talk. The moment I try to go, I try to sing and I'm not approved, I think I'm a bad singer. I think I'm a bad singer. I don't understand that, because I need to improve or put upon my skills little more to suit up to the standards set by them. So self-awareness is something what you know about what you are. You are not trying to compare your standards to something else. You know what you are, what your standing is. What your standing is, or what and not what the expectations of the place where you are. You need to have a very self honest introspection of what you are. That is one of the most important thing, because most of the times it so happens we don't identify what we are. We try to identify, approve ourselves based on what society demands from us or what society expects from us. And the second most important aspect of self love is self acceptance. Most important thing, accept what you are. Like if you rate 5 on 10 in terms of your life skills, you are 5, accept it. Don't think you are 7 and then go to the market, they don't approve you and come back and start feeling bad about you. You are 5, so be it. So be it. What's big deal about it? So self acceptance. For self acceptance, you need to have an unconditional love of understanding what you are, what you are. The third most important thing is self care. When I say self care, I just don't mean the physical body. I mean the physical sense, the intellectual sense, the emotional sense, the psychological sense, and then your spiritual sense, and the way you are with the society, the way you can completely build yourself in all the terms possible to put yourself as a better person in the society. And fourth important thing is self compassion and self forgiveness. Most of the times when we fail, we try to give a label that we are not successful. I'm a failure. I cannot do it. Because this comes because we have a very low self esteem. Low self esteem and sense of worth. We have not done an honest introspection of what we are. We lack the self compassion and self forgiveness. It is okay to fail. It is okay when we fail in life. That is fine. Everybody fails in life. It is not exclusive that we are failing in life. I might give 10 talks on which 3 might fail. That is okay. It's a part and parcel of life. People might not like it. I cannot expect what I talk. Everybody should acknowledge it. Everybody should appreciate it. Everybody should approve it. Not required. Not required. Self-compassion. Even if it is approved, well and fine. If it is not approved, try to have that self-compassion for yourself. Try to introspect what are the areas that the people didn't like, and then how you can improvise upon every failure that we face in life is definitely a great opportunity to succeed. And I like to add my most favorite quote here: failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is a part of the success. Failure is a part of the success. The moment we understand that failure is a part of the success, we know that we are moving towards the success. And that's what I keep telling people. When you fail in something, know that you are reaching success. Know that you are reaching success. You have not gone opposite of the success. And next most important aspect is self-trust. Trust yourself. End of something is not end of everything. End of a situation, end of a good relationship is not end of your life. So you need to have trust. Trust makes another important aspect of self-love. And other most important aspect is self-esteem. This is, I'll take an exclusive class for this, for self-esteem. How do you build your self-esteem? Self-esteem is like how do you really gauge yourself? How do you project yourself in a positive way? How do you project yourself? How do you see yourself? How do you accept yourself in a positive way? So these are the most important aspects of self-love. If we need to identify the reason why I told this, because you need to sit down and then when you think low about yourself, think about which attribute of this you feel low. Are you lacking self-esteem? Are you lacking trust on yourself? Or are you not showing compassion on yourself? Are you not able to forgive yourself? Are you not able to take care of yourself? Are you not able to accept yourself? Are you not able to be honest with yourself? Honest with yourself. One of these areas, for sure, there is a lapse. Because of the lapse, your self-love definitely is on a lower spectrum. You need to identify, you need to check out, you need to know which of these areas you're lacking such that you can pull back your self-love. So this is all the slide about. And what really happens when there is a deficit in the self-love? When there is a deficit in the self-love? When there is a deficit in the self-love, these are the various behavioral patterns you can understand, you can see, you can definitely see. First one is poor confidence. You're not so confident to come and put yourself. I might be only this, and my expectations is much more, but still I'm confident I can put myself. If I'm accepted, can someone mute please? Yeah, thank you. So what we need to understand the various behavioral aspects. When you notice in yourself on some others, please note that there is a deficit in one of these behaviors or nothing but the symptoms of lack of self-love. One is the poor confidence, the lack of emotional control, and I'm sure many of you would have noticed with your friends, with your family, where people usually lose their temper for every small thing in life. They expect perfectionism in every little thing in life. They cannot accept if something goes wrong somewhere. Totally lacking self control, emotional control, and losing out, throwing temper tantrums, and exhibiting lot of mood swings. Lot of mood swings. And negative social comparison. I'm sitting here, Kavitha can be Kavitha, and Raj can be Raj. Kavitha cannot become Raj and Raj cannot become Kavitha. It is impossible. I have my own set of qualities. Raj has his own set of qualities. He is unique in his way. I am unique in my way. How am I better in my own perspective? How can I be better in my own way? This is something that we need to think about. We need to think about. Most of the times we sit down and think they are able to do it, I'm not able to do it, so I'm trying to imitate, wherein I'm losing myself in the process. I'm losing my uniqueness in the process. When I lose my uniqueness in the process, I lose me. When I lose me, then what is the point when I don't appreciate myself? So no, a person who always keeps cribbing, they are better, I'm not better, they could earn better, I'm not able to earn better, they are doing better, I'm not able to do better. The negative social comparisons is another aspect of clear reflection of lack of self-love. And next most important thing, uh, I have certain belief systems, I have certain values. My life runs on my beliefs and my values. As long as I need to compromise a bit, I'm okay with it. But if I'm asked to do something that is against my beliefs and values, but still I'm not able to openly talk about it, I'm not able to openly say, I need this, I'm not openly able to say I want to do that. This is nothing but problems. You have an issue asking for what you need. Let us say, I'll give a very classic example, especially it happens with the women. A woman who's so tired working day in, day out, taking care of her family, of her children, of her work, still does not want to say, I'm tired. She goes more, she stretches more, she exerts more than what is required to work for the family, to do for the family, and cannot say, I'm sorry, I cannot do, I want to rest. I want to rest. We have seen many women like this, because they don't have an issue of asking what they need. And the next most important thing, you are in a workspace, you are in a workplace, and you know that the junior below you is earning much higher than you, and you have a lot of experience, you have a lot of seniority. Because you have not asked for it, your paycheck is not being increased. You're not asking it because you feel there's a job they have given me, but inside you are not feeling so happy about it. So your feelings are so different from your thoughts. Please note, please note, in every work what you do, try to observe your feelings, because your feelings is what your mind is. Your feeling is what your emotions are. Your feeling is what it is. Because let us say, for example, I have a problem and I just think I'm okay, I'm all right, nothing is troubling me. Nothing is troubling me, but inside there is a pain. There is a pain I feel. I'm not so very comfortable, because most of the times we use the mind, we use the thoughts to judge and to make up what we are. Let us not forget, it is not the thoughts that make us, it is the feelings. It is the feelings. When your feeling says don't do that, don't do that, because that feeling is based on a certain instinct, and that instinct is much stronger. That instinct is what is going to make you a better person, because you cannot keep faking all the time. I like to take a class. Let us say that somebody is asking me to take a class and I don't like to take it. I can't really give my complete self. Inside me, I think I'm not good at it, but I'm forced to do that. So inside me, I'm struggling. There is a conflict between my thought and my feeling. So always remember, your feelings tell you how you are in the given situation. So please come forward to showcase, to put up whether the need is being fulfilled or not is a different story, but never hesitate to put forth what you feel from inside. And next most important behavior that people with self-love exhibit is worry and self-doubt. Would this happen? Will it work? Is it okay? Is it going to happen? Like, how does it do? Can I do it? Can I make it out? There's a lot of worry. Usually, a little self doubt is there as a part of every situation. But if that is persistent, that is consistent, it's taking away a lot of your lifetime. Please note you are lacking self love. Negative self talk, as I just mentioned earlier, I'm not good at it, I'm not worth it, I can't do it, I don't think that is my cup of tea, and I'm not meant for that. All these kind of self critical negative self talks. And next most important thing, fear of failure. I don't want to attempt it because I'm sure I'm going to fail in that. I don't want to do it because I know no matter how much I work hard on it, I still cannot pass this. I still cannot pass this. This is another common behavior. Poor outlook of life. Absolutely pessimistic outlook of life. When I say poor outlook of life, I'm talking about the pessimism. You don't find a reason to have a vibrant, energetic, beautiful life. You're not able to think about it. You're thinking, and there is always a negative sense in the whole outlook in life. And lack of boundaries. When I say lack of boundaries, I mean that you're not able to say no to something. You're not able to say no to something. You're pleasing the person. You're not able to say no to something. Your beliefs and your values don't permit you to do that, but despite that, you still are doing it because you're not able to set boundaries. There is a partner at work who's abusive verbally, who's abusive emotionally, who's abusive physically, but still you bear everything. Bear everything. It could be reason, could be children, could be anybody. Anybody. So lack of boundaries, you're not able to set the boundaries to yourself and trying to please others. This we would have noticed. No matter the smallest thing done, they keep appreciating the people so much, because you feel by appreciating they feel good. But let me tell you, let me tell you, feelings are something that has to come from inside, and that feelings have a different energy altogether. You would be in a position to identify if that feeling is genuine or you're just trying to please others. Why do you need to please others? Because you're not confident about yourself. Why do you want to please others? Because you feel that it's okay to do wrong. And why do you please others? It's fine to express what you are. That is still okay. Okay. And being needy. And this is something we often keep seeing, especially in relationships. In relationship, you need to give me time, and you are not sitting with me, you are not giving much time to me, or every small thing in life, you are looking back for somebody's approval, your partner's approval, and because of this you are clinging, you are cribbing all the time. What we fail to understand, we lack love, we lack self love. Because we are lacking self love, for every small thing that we do in life, we are looking for an acceptance, from outside. That outside could be your partner, that outside could be your workspace, that outside could be your situation. There is always an approval. You didn't appreciate me, you didn't do this to me, you didn't do that to me. There is a constant need for approval from somebody. Being needy, this is another classic stance to prove that you are lacking self-love. These are all the very, very classic symptoms. Out of all these things, if you feel you are showcasing 3 or 4 symptoms consistently, persistently, please understand it is time that you need to start working on yourself and build the self-love. I don't say all the things, nor I say only one aspect. I'm talking about at least 3 to 4 out of all the given things. At least 3 to 4. When you know 3 to 4 symptoms you are exhibiting, you are often exhibiting, your behavior is exhibiting, or you hear it from somebody. Because most of the times we don't understand we are cribbing because we think we are right. But when your partner tells you, you need an approval for every small thing, why don't you go and do it? And why are you cribbing about every small thing? Why don't you get the confidence to go and do things? Because these are the common things that we keep hearing from our people. These are the common things that we keep hearing from the society. When you know at least 3 or 4 of these, you often keep hearing about yourself. Please understand that you need to work on loving yourself. You need to work on loving yourself, because most of the times we don't understand that we have a problem. We don't understand. It is from the complaints what we receive from people that we know that, or a feedback what we receive from people, that we know that there is a problem, there is an issue. So I stop here and I'll take a couple of questions, then I'll move ahead. You can go ahead asking me questions, a couple of questions.
Yes, Dr. Kavitha, I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
So, how to overcome a situation to love yourself when, let's say, some members of your family doesn't really trust in you and they are putting you always in second plan. So
Okay.
how to find this love, in fact, and you say, okay, I have to love myself. I have to reveal myself, but if my environment is not like that, so it's not how to overcome that.
Yeah. There are 2 aspects that we need to look out here. Aspect 1, what we are to ourselves. Aspect 2, what we are to the society or to the situation. As I can understand, when I am put up as a plan B or a plan 2, an alternate plan wherein my love is genuine, pure, and I know I'm doing better. I think a couple of things can be done in this given situation. First, let us not forego ourselves, our personality, our attributes, our values, our beliefs. Here, what we are talking about is the beliefs and values. Beliefs and values. I know I'm doing this for a better reason. I know I'm doing this for a good reason. But when the reason is being misunderstood or being put at bay, I think we need to first, the most important thing is having a very honest, open communication. with the partner, open, honest communication with the family. And because in this, again, couple of things can happen. One is a very defensive mechanism wherein the partner or the family says states that that's nothing to do, everything is all right, you are little thinking much more, you are thinking beyond, you are thinking beyond. That could be one reason which is used as a defense mechanism to state that your thinking is wrong but my approach is right. This could happen in case one. Case two. Case two could be where there is an understanding, but not agreeing to it right in front because of an ego aspect. I still say that, but I know something is wrong. So I take actions to correct it without agreeing to the fact that, I have been trying to do something, not able to trust you for certain reasons. Under the second case, I think, as per me, we need to leave it to the time. We need to leave it to the time and keep doing what we believe is the best based on our beliefs and our value systems. Talking to case one where the things are going pretty defensive, one way of again there could be a couple of things that can be done under this. When the family person goes pretty defensive, most important thing, let us not forego the self love what we have for ourselves. Self love what we have for ourselves, because the other person, why the person has lost the love, that is something the person is not ready to reveal, ready to talk about it, ready to share it, and because of which the person is not able to trust. And I think because certain aspects you can only speak out your heart out, you can speak your heart out, put the things in writing, make the things very very clear that these are my intentions and this is the way I'll be doing it. If the person is able to agree, well and fine, because you cannot really force anybody to trust you, to love you, to respect you, because certain things cannot be forced. It has to be natural. But the most important thing, we need to be what we are all the time, good or bad, right or wrong, left or right, no matter what it is. We always need to be what we are all the time. Let us never ever change. Let us never ever change, because we know our beliefs, our values, the way we work and the way we do. We know the intent is pretty strong, pretty clear, and pretty pristine. It doesn't have anything in here. The other person, if he has to understand, he will understand. And let me tell you, you can never force a person who does not want to understand you. There are a couple of things. I don't really understand, so I make an attempt to understand you. I don't want to understand you, you can never understand you, can never understand you, because it's impossible. It's impossible. So I think I only see these as a reason, sister. I think in this context, the most important thing, let me be very clear and intact on my beliefs, on my values, on my work, and let me know why I am doing, and let me have that confidence and never ever lose the confidence because somebody is telling me that doesn't work. So let not others rule me over. I think that is important, because when I know I'm doing a good job, and why should I get down? Why should I get down? And why should I try to please others and come down and please others? Not required, because the purpose of life is much stronger than anything else. Did I make sense, Sister Nadia?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Kavita. I believe that, yes, as you explained, I have first to be convinced myself that I am good.
Yeah.
Then I will stop the others to right judge me. Why I'm asking that? Because we have several people in the world living this situation. I was
Absolutely,
talking
absolutely.
to different of my children from around the world, and when we were inspiring to just love themselves, trust themselves, and they were telling me how to trust myself and love myself if
Yeah.
I am facing a community that is rejecting me and doesn't really believe in me and doesn't. So thank you for your explanation. Thank
Thank you.
you very, very much.
Thank you,
So we
sister.
have
Yeah.
other question.
Yeah. Uh, Derek, and I also seen somebody else raising the hand. Just a second. Let me see who it is.
Yes, we have a lion. I don't know. He
Yeah. Please.
Lion and also Derek and Noor.
No,
nor
yeah,
after.
please go ahead,
Our,
ask your questions.
yes.
Mr. Lion, I'm sorry, I'm not aware like if it is a male or a female because I'm really sorry, I'm not quite familiar with the names. Yeah.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Very good afternoon, Mr. Lion. Please ask your question.
Um, I'm I'm from Nigeria. I'm just joining the Zoom. So I want to ask a question on lack of emotional control.
Yeah.
Please
Okay.
explain more on it, please.
Yeah, sure. I prefer taking up a session exclusively on emotional control because this is a quite a wide aspect, wide subject. But I like to give a brief reason why we lack that emotional control. Let me give the basis, the insight of it. But I prefer taking up an exclusive class on emotional control because that's a very important thing. But yeah. Uh, the most important reason for lack of emotional control, the most important reason is first is expectations is much beyond the reality. I expect somebody to be a perfectionist. Let us say my kids. I expect them to rise at 5 o'clock in the morning, go to school, come back, do their homeworks, and finish their work. I expect my wife to be a very idealistic wife, you know. But these are my expectations, and I'm doing it. Why they are not doing it? When the expectation surpasses the reality, there is lack of emotional control. Second thing, expecting perfectionism in every little small thing what we do in life. I want something to be done A to B, B to C, C to D, D to E. These are the steps that need to be followed. Let us say I don't want to go from A to B, B to C, C to D, and I go from A to E, I'm not able to take it because my expectation is from A to B because that is the way I have been brought up. So I have been hardwired to look at life in a certain way. And I expect my family, my friends, my people to follow the same. What I fail to understand, my upbringing, my cultural circumstances, my genetics, my biological makeup, my psychological makeup, my nurturing, my childhood is so different from the other person. So how can the behavior be the same? That could be the second reason what we fail to understand. My backgrounds, my realities are so different from what I am. So different. So lack of acceptance, you lose emotional control because you lack acceptance. And rather you are so judgmental about a certain thing and your expectations are quite high. The third thing could be nurturing. Maybe you have seen your parents, you have seen your caretaker behaving like that, losing control over every small thing. And that is how you have been hardwired right from your childhood. And you know that if something goes wrong, I need to behave only like this because that is the way you've been hardwired since your childhood. So obviously that is the behavior you start exhibiting and you don't feel that is wrong. Why you don't feel that is wrong? Because you are safe, you are still surviving, you are still living, and it is not your heart. You feel you have not been disturbed, but what there is a bigger problem that you have adopted a behavior which is not healthy. So the third thing could be the nurturing, the childhood nurturing, the childhood parenting has been that way, that you feel that is okay to behave like that because you are safe now, you are cool now, so that is safe to behave that could be another reason why there is a lack of emotional control. And the fourth important thing is on like the fourth most important thing is on you feel you have low self esteem and sense of worth. When I have low self-esteem and low sense of worth, the way I try to show up my dominance over a situation is to lose my emotional control. So as of now, I can talk about these brief four areas where I don't really have an emotional control on the work what I'm doing right now. Mr. Lion, like, I mean, did I make sense to you?
You're smart. Thanks for the explanation.
Thank you. Yeah. Can I take the question from Noor and then followed by Ms. Kristen? Noor, do you have a question? I think we'll go with Kristen and then come back to Noor again. Yes, Miss Kristen. Like, what's your question?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mine actually wasn't a question, but I'd like you to elaborate on it. I grew up in a very large family with very strict parents. I'm one of the youngest children. And it was always my older children or my older siblings that were the golden children of the family. And through that, I always felt less of myself. I felt that the dreams that I wanted were unachievable because my older siblings had always reached those dreams. Great expectations, great homes, great husbands, great wives, and great educations. Well, I've learned over the years, and after having just one son and raising 5 children, to look at those children and treat them equally and let them know that everything they stretch their hand out to, their hearts out to, and their lives out to are obtainable, and that no one is above the other, that all human beings have trial and error, and we are all one, and that we need to realize that we can reach whatever we wish. But I also wanted your thoughts on those obtainable things that we feel in our heart. What would you say to those growing children and young people that feel that because they weren't born in high status or perhaps in a lower status, in poor areas and things like that? What would you say to those people because of love? They look to these people who have it all, but we need to teach these children that those dreams are obtainable. Educations are out there. There are wonderful people that would reach out to them. How would you talk to those children?
Yeah, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. That's a wonderful question. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think the first base level uh, thing that needs to be put up with these children. First, let the children know the reality within the given limitations. What is the best that is being done to them? One mistake that usually happens in every household, irrespective of the background, when the first child is born in the family, there is a lot of care, a lot of love, lot of needs that are being met. As the number goes up, eventually even the parents grow older and the needs of the expenses of the family equally increases. So probably the kind of affordability what has been given to number one might not be given to number five or number six, not number 5 or number 6, and that is not wrong. But the mistake what usually the families do, they don't try to give an explanation to the child why the eldest one has been given and younger one was not being given that. So the child is given an opportunity to perceive things for himself or herself with limitations, like, they might probably not like me. Probably they are fond of the eldest one. I'm not being taken care because the eldest one looks so good. The eldest one has given so much luck to the family. We have our own reasons attributing to it. So the first most important thing that we need to do whenever a different situation has to be given to the children in the family, irrespective of the age. Probably a 17-year-old has a higher expensive needs when compared to a 6-year-old. A 6-year-old, probably you buy him a $10 toy, but for a 17-year-old, you need to put up a $200 t-shirt because the child is going to a college, the child is going to a school, so there is a peer pressure on the child. But I think the most important thing, First is to balance, and second most important thing is to give an explanation to the child why the child has been given. When this child grows up, he would be given the same thing, giving a kind of a commitment. I think the when the communication gap is reduced, when we bridge the gap, why a certain action of ours has been on higher on one child and lower on one child, most of the problems are sorted out. The problems come when children start perceiving things for themselves, because at an young age they only think they love me, they don't love me. They love me, so they give me so much. They don't love me, so they don't give me so much. And when I start feeling that they don't love me so much, so I feel there is a deficit in me. They don't love me because there is a deficit in me. So, and I grow up thinking there is a deficit in me, which eventually leads to the lack of self-love. I grow up thinking there is a deficit. I think, because this is something that I have been nurtured from my childhood, not consciously, but because we have left the perception to the child to think what he wants to think. So I think the communication with the children is important to make them realize that at that age what is important, that needs a higher expense, that needs a higher need, that needs a higher attention, to why it is not needed. Because I also know, I can give you a classic case. The eldest child is an autistic child, the youngest child is an autistic child, the elder one is a normal child. The moment the parents got to understand the child is an autistic child, they completely ignored the elder one. They start giving attention to the younger one. Now the elder one started thinking the younger one is the sibling has really spoiled the life of him. So he started developing a hatred towards the child, and was trying to harm the child in whatever way was possible. But the whole problem has come when you know that there is an autistic child. The parents should have divided the attention, that you give attention now and probably sometime later. Swap the attention, ensure that the child knows, because you cannot really absolutely measure, this is the love I give and this is what it is. It is 200 pounds and this is the love I'm going to give it to the person. It's not possible, but at least one can make the children realize. I think if the communication is sorted out and explanation is given, and also the elder one is made responsible in the process. Let us say they're involving the elder child in taking care of the younger one. The elder one starts feeling more responsible, more love towards the child, and elder one feels that I am worth something. So a parent can say that you are the best and most matured, come on, do it, you can do it, take care of the family, you also take the responsibility. I think it's all got to do with how well you explain your behavior to the children, how well you convince on your behavior, and how well you balance the whole situation. How well you balance. I think once it is done, I think most of the children, they grow up in a quite a healthy way with self-love intact. Am I clear, ma'am?
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Noor, are you there? Okay. So I think I'll go ahead with my class now. Yeah.
Yes, I
So,
think we lost Noor because of the connection. Of his
yeah,
connection was not good.
yes. I'll go ahead with my class. I'll continue my class. So this is what it is. So let's try to understand. So if a person is exhibiting certain characteristics, certain behavioral issues, let us try to understand there is a lack in the self-love. So as I just discussed, let us try to see, like, how do we really build up the self-love in the other person. Now I go to my next slide. I don't think I'll go to this. So how do we
Yes,
understand?
sister, please, before to go to your new slide, can you just remind us, please, what is the difference between self-love and compassion? Love and compassion, because if we don't understand that, it is can you please explain what
Yeah,
is the
yeah,
what
yeah,
is the
sure.
difference between them?
Compassion is a way of, like, how do you treat yourself? Self-compassion is a way you treat yourself. Self-love, both are used interchangeably. They usually use the compassion and love interchangeably. But self-compassion is the way you treat yourself in a certain given situation. Self-love is a bigger, broader perspective where your self-love, we look at it as how you really understand your whole personality, your physical, your psychological, your emotional, your need, your self-esteem, your sense of worth. How do you really understand? How do you really accept? How do you really approve? How do you really look at yourself as a positive being with a positive outlook towards life? With a positive outlook towards life. That is called self-love. Self-compassion is how do you treat yourself in a given situation. That compassion, how do you treat yourself in a given situation? Like you meet a failure, how much you understand yourself, that is okay to fail, that is okay to fail, and I need to move ahead in life because this is my one failure, is not end of my life. So how do you really understand? And I break up in a relationship, that is okay to break in a relationship. The situation is okay. That is all right. That is all right. So how do? So I need to have a self-compassion. Self-compassion is a quality which makes you how you respond positively in a given situation. Self-love is a broader term, a bigger term that really looks into your physical, psychological, mental, emotional, spiritual aspect of what you are. So self-love is a bigger term. Self-compassion is how you really check into it. By having self-compassion, you can build self-love. You can build self-love. Am I clear, sister?
Yes, thank you so much. I wanted really to
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, thank you. So let us understand, try to see, take few examples to know what is self-love here. What is self-love? As I just mentioned, a high achieving student suddenly fails in an exam and starts thinking to himself, it is okay to fail. Everybody fails at some point of life. You are still pretty good student overall. This failure is not going to define you as a person. This is a clear indication of self-love because you know that the failure now is not a failure forever. The second thing, the father who loses temper on the children because they have not done something as per his expectations, and now thinks back after shouting, after showing his tantrum on the children, thinks that I should need to go and apologize to my children because I was behaving rude with them. I was behaving rude with them because you know that it is okay to lose your anger. You don't feel guilty about it. You know there was a genuine reason, and you know that you don't feel guilty and feel sad, don't have food and starve and then shout at children or show that and not in talking terms with the children for a couple of days, and don't exhibit all these things. You go to the child and apologize and say, this is the reason why I was angry on you. So that is okay. And you think to yourself, I've apologized, and that is an indication that you are not a bad father because you feel guilty because you think that you've been a very bad father to your child. And third example is like a wife talking or insulting the husband side, and and husband thinks that the husband thinks the husband shouts at, or there is a difference between the partners. One of these partners think that after all, she's not a bad person, I'm not a bad person, I cannot say that. That's okay, we all commit mistakes, and then I understand and accept the person the way they are, and it could be a relationship issue. Probably you have committed that you are going to go and meet your friend, which is so important, but you couldn't do it for certain compulsive reasons, and you start, the natural instinct would be that I have been such a bad friend, I could not go, I could not meet the person, and small instances like this pulls you down, removes your self-esteem, lowers your sense of worth, which can eventually have an impact on the self-love of you. Wherein rather than that, you think that it is okay, that is the way it happens. It's okay that we forget few things certain times. That is okay. I'm going to talk to my friend. I'm going to tell, because of this, I have become like this. And you're going to forgive yourself for that. And next thing would be like, you are expecting certain promotions, certain credentials from your employer, and you didn't get it, And because you are not upset, you are not low, you don't come back home and think that, I'm low, I'm upset, and I am like this, I am a failure all the time, I don't get any kind of recognition, the due recognition which I have to get in my life. Rather than that, you think I'm still a good person, I'm worth something, probably next time I'll get, and this time I need to build up some more skills and or abilities that have been lacking a bit. So these are the small examples like how you can showcase self-love. No matter what the situation is, don't feel so low about yourself. Don't think so low about yourself and finally end up in a situation where you are not able to do anything, or you feel so bad about yourself, so bad about yourself. I tell you, one of the major reasons for depression and people committing their lives, committing or taking away their lives through suicide, the biggest reason is lack of self-love. There is a lot of dependency for approval. I need to pass the exam. If I pass the exam, my parents are happy, my society is happy, my people are happy, I'm going to get a lot of appreciations from the people. Because of this, I'm not going to do that. Or that girl has left me, the boy has left me, I don't have anybody in my life now, I'm all alone. Because of lack of self-love, it can lead to the extreme situations of depression and even taking away lives by suicide. So these are the small examples to understand how do you behave in a given situation. So I like to mention few strategies as asked, like how do you build the self-compassion on yourself? Because if something wrong happens, something happens in the life, we feel so guilty about it, and there is a critical judgment about ourselves. We label ourselves as failures, as unworthy, as unable to do certain things, as not able to do things as per the requirement, and a failure, and we call ourselves a failure. These are the situations, these are the few strategies that we can build in to build the self-compassion. As I mentioned, self-compassion is how do you really behave in a given situation. Let us say that you are low for certain reasons. You are low, you are quite low, you feel so low about yourself, and you don't feel good about yourself, and you think you're not worth anything. Your sense of worth is pretty low. Okay, so just imagine if a very good friend of yours is feeling like that. So what do? Do you encourage the person that he is worthless? Do you encourage the person that he's not worth anything in life? Do you encourage the person that he's not, it's really, his feelings are absolutely genuine, and he's really hopeless and there is nothing left in his life? What do you do? If if it was your friend in your life, you eventually would try to motivate, you try to encourage, you try to say that things are gonna feel better. So under these situations, just imagine that you are a good friend of yourself. You are your good friend of yourself, and start writing what are the areas that you feel bad about. Because generally we all make a common mistake of titling ourselves as bad. Because when I say I am bad, or rather than saying bad is on me, there is a difference. Bad is on me is still a correctable statement. I am bad is not correctable because I define myself, I identify myself with badness. Rather than that, some bad is on me, you are only talking about a situation that can be still corrected. Because words are very powerful. Words are very powerful because the words create those feelings in you. As I mentioned, feelings are much more powerful than the thoughts. Feelings are much more powerful than the thoughts. So as I told, you think that you are your own best friend. How do you respond to your friend? And start writing down what are the various situations that you're feeling bad about, and start thinking like, what can you do? Can you do something that you can correct that? Can you do something that you can correct that? When you start thinking about that you can correct certain things in your life, you know that okay, there is a problem, I can solve it, and that gives you the confidence to move ahead with the life. So this is one of the strategies that you can inculcate, the self-compassion in yourself when you feel low at any given situation. The second one is acceptance. when there is something wrong happening to you, first understand that, as I mentioned earlier, you are not suffering. Don't use that word, you are not suffering. Suffering is on you now. Suffering is on you now. So, we are talking about a situation that is temporary. We are talking about a situation that is solvable. We are talking about a situation where you can do something. Where you can do something. So, rechange your thought process and words in your mind. Rechange and know that suffering is there with anybody. Suffering comes in everybody's life. So when you say that, you start accepting the situation, because most of the times it doesn't happen like that. Most of the times it so happens that, you say that I am the only one who's suffering all the time. I'm the one who's at bad all the time. I'm the one who's that all the time. So we try to label ourselves in given situations. So please note, rather than thinking like that, you think it is okay to suffer. Everybody in this on this planet Earth has to suffer. They get a suffering at some point of time in life. It is okay to get that, and we have the capacity to sort it out, and you forgive yourself. You have done some mistake, or you just hold, let time talk about it, because things don't happen immediately. There are certain things that do need some time to really work out on. So think about it. Acceptance is the second best strategy you can really think about. And third one is self-worth. How do you increase the self-worth? It's little high. I put it in 2 3 words. First is, whenever there is an imperfection, start writing about which are the various factors that are making you feel highly insecure. Because as I mentioned, we generally brand ourselves rather than branding ourselves. Try to use the word, there is a bad situation on me now, why it has happened, and what is it creating, what emotions are it creating in me. Start writing down those situations, and once you start writing down the situations, what has happened, think that think that you are your best friend, and if you're writing a letter, how do you solve those situations? Start writing a letter to yourself. Start writing a letter to yourself, how you can solve the problem as a third person. Put the letter aside and go out. After some time, with a neutral mind, try to read the letter, because when you do it immediately, the same emotions keep hovering over in the mind. When the same emotions keep hovering over in the mind, you cannot really bring in a change. You cannot really bring in a change. So try to really change after some time. Come with a neutral mind, read that letter, what you have written to yourself, see if there are areas that you can correct. By doing so, you would be increasing your sense of worth. And next is self-care. Proper nutrition, exercise, good sleep, good social interactions. Don't try to be yourself. Try to talk to people. Try to have healthy relationships with people. Have a good sleep, and don't indulge into too much of alcohol, too much of smoking, too much of substance abuse. Don't do that. So taking care of your physical health, physical regimen is very important. Self-care is important, because as a fit physical body gives you a fit mental mind. As simple as that. So self-care is the next strategy, and next most important thing, set the boundaries. Set the boundaries. When there are certain situations that are against your values and beliefs, don't do that. Don't do that. No matter how much fetching, how much money it gives you, don't do that, because that creates lot of guilt, lot of sense of lot of lack of sense of worth in you. That creates, which removes the self-love from you. Don't do that. Be very clear about what are your beliefs. Be very clear about what are your values. Values what you hold for yourself, and have the habit of saying no when you really don't want to do that. Don't do that when you don't want to do that. Develop the habit of saying no, because that way you set your physical boundaries, you set your emotional boundaries, you set your spiritual boundaries. By setting up boundaries, you are healthy and you are doing what you want to do in life. So setting boundaries is another aspect. And next most important thing is set protection for yourself. There are some people, you live in certain relationships because you have an obligation that you have to take care, or you want to prove yourself that you are a good person, or you want to think because have low confidence, so you are bearing that relationship. Don't bear the relationship. Don't do that. protect yourself. Protect yourself by setting up clear cut boundaries. And if you feel somebody is not good, don't stay with them. Don't trouble yourself. Try to correct them. If the correction doesn't happen, so be it. Leave them, because world doesn't lack people. You have a lot of people across the world, so you have somebody who can understand you, with whom you can be better. So very clear. Protect yourself from emotional abuse, physical abuse, and sexual abuse. Protect yourself. Self protection is very important, because this self protection is what's going to increase your self love on yourself. It's an indication that you love yourself. So with this, I stop my talk. If there are any questions, I'd like to take, or else we'll close the class. Thank you so much. Are there any questions that you want me to take?
No, sister, I think your explanation were just amazing,
Thank you.
and I believe that from my side, I have no question. I don't know from the other side, but for me now it's very clear. I understood a lot of things, and I thank you very much for that.
Thank you, sister. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kavitha. It was really wonderful. Your explanations are really eye-opening.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. I love our professor. I love our team, our family. It's amazing. Yeah.
Thank you
This
so
is really
much.
amazing.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I hope that everyone enjoy our session today with Dr. Kavitha, the first class, self-love. We have learned a lot about self-love. And and don't miss out the next course of Dr. Kavitha. It is same
Emotional
day,
control.
same
I
hour.
think I'll take on emotional control. I think that's a pretty interesting topic.
Oh wow, it will be just fantastic. We have really to promote the courses, because it is a revolution for the world to learn all that.
Yeah. So I think I'll take a session on emotional control, and I think most of us do need that. It's a reminder.
Yes, I think the world needs that.
Yeah.
Dr. Kavitha, will you take next week, or like the next session will be that?
I'm sorry, Raj, your voice is breaking.
Will that be the next session, like next week?
Yes. Next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, I'll be taking a class on emotional control. Same time.
All right, we start promoting it now.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Same day, same hour, same platform with Dr. Kavitha.
Yes. Thank you. Love you all. Thank you.
Love you, Dr. Kavitha. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.